Here we go. All right, Lions. Hope you're ready. Hanging on to your lug nuts and all. Let's see. That should be showing up here shortly. I want to go find a conversation I had. All right. So who do we got in the house today? All right. Yeah, some people may not have turned the clocks back yet, but yep, it is 6 o'clock. Well, six, yeah, almost 6 o'clock on the nose. Looks like there. All the phones tell me it's 6:04. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, welcome, Lions. I'm Paul Romero, your host with the most, your fighter in the arena, and your write in candidate for Oregon governor. Thank you for tuning in for the Meat of Truth. 2 days to get your ballots turned in. Some may be able to get it to their clerks of court, others will have to use the drop off sites. Either way, I'll be dropping mine off Tuesday about noon. So I'll take this opportunity to thank all of my supporters and those who took the time to write my name in for Oregon governor. Now, if you're in Douglas County, there's something else you could do as kind of a backup thing, and it's an issue that I've actually been very much involved with, and that would be the Douglas Soil and Water Conservation District Director Zone 2. And also, I guess technically you could probably write me in for the at-large position 1 as well. But either way, it's something that I've been very much involved in, know a lot about, and I'm going to go into a little story of foreign countries coming into America because they don't have enough water. And with farmers having to fight just to get their water that's allotted to them by law, even in this state, yet if it's a foreign entity that owns the land, they get it really easy. Why is that? Yeah. So another issue we're having to face. So my sincere and heartfelt thank you to everybody who has actually helped this campaign and who hasn't given up on it. I really appreciate that. And know this: no matter what, I'm going to continue to fight for Oregon, and I will not let you down. It's not in me to quit. It's just not who I am. And the simple fact is, we have many battles to fight. And right now, in the in the off chance that Drazen actually wins this, well, like I said, there's going to be it's going to be pretty topsy turvy no matter who wins. There's going to be a lot of things that need to change, a lot of things that need to happen. But the real $1 million question is: are these people going to actually do what needs to be done? And I think we know at least a few of them. Actually, I know three of them that won't do it. They may say things, and I keep hearing people talk about, well, we got to get somebody. We have to have a winner. We got to win. We got to win. So, in the course of wanting to win so badly, they're willing to compromise themselves and actually vote for what they recognize as one of the evils. To me, this is remarkable. And anytime a Christian is willing to vote for the lesser of evils, when you do have another option, yeah, you got a little problem with that. It kind of defeats the whole purpose. If anything, we're also supposed to be standing up against evil, standing up against human and child trafficking. Have you heard Drazen, Johnson, or Kotek speak at all on the topic? I haven't. What about the China connection? Nope, nothing heard. And I think Drazen is supposed to be somewhere tomorrow at the Capitol, I believe. And I've challenged some people to ask her about her stance with China's encroachment into Oregon. So we'll see what happens out of that. If you hadn't noticed, we changed the Lion's Den to Roar, Oregon. That is the new name of the Lion's Den. Still the Lion's Den, but it's time for Oregon to roar. Okay, so let's go through some of the past recently. Recent past. It's more like the last couple of years. How many hoaxes did we fall for? Right? Remember the Russia collusion when it first came out? People had no reason to not believe it or not buy it. And yet, the truth is, complete and total hoax. Total fabrication, not real at all. Trump, they claimed that he called neo Nazis fine people. The thing about Trump we've learned is that you got to take his entire conversation into context. You cannot nitpick bits and pieces. But once again, no, he did not call Nazis fine people. But when you're dealing with desperate people that can't get anything on you, they resort to lying and slander and things like that. And I think Socrates said something to that effect, that once the argument's lost, the avenue of the loser is slander. So that's fundamentally what President Trump's dealt with. It's something I've had to deal with. Then we have Jussie Smollett. Yeah, like two guys in MAGA hats are going to mug you in the middle of the night, not take your money, hang a noose around your neck, and pour bleach on your jacket. Yeah, whatever it was. Again, totally fabricated, not real, a lie. The guy should go to jail for this. Then you have Bubba Wallace and the garage pole they found on his garage door, and somebody had tied it into a noose. It had been there forever. And no, if somebody has had the skill to actually tie a noose, well, there you go, I guess. But its purpose was not to be racist or anything like that. And last time I checked, used to hang horse thieves too, right? And they were white and Hispanic and everything else, I believe. So heads up there. So then we have the Covington kids, again, another hoax. Governor Whitmer kidnapping plot, another hoax perpetrated largely by the FBI. Why would the FBI be involved in a kidnapping? Shouldn't be involved except catching or stopping one, not helping to create it. Then you had the Kavanaugh rape, right? Again, they couldn't find anything on him. They had to invent it. They had to get people to step up and claim it happened to them. But as soon as you investigate their stories, they vanish, they disappear. They're like, I don't know what I was talking about. Yeah. And it's not because Kavanaugh and his people are going threatening them. These people are in the public. Once you come out with your public information, you're kind of protected. As soon as something happens to you, people automatically think, well, maybe there's some truth to this. But still, no evidence, no supporting anything. The Trump golden showers with Russian hookers claim. Yep, 100% false, not totally fabricated. The COVID lab leak was a conspiracy theory, right? Well, what we're learning is it probably wasn't an actual lab leak. It was probably intentionally leaked, not just an accident. And we have a pretty good idea where it came from. Then you have border agents whipped migrants, because that's what we do. We bring them into the country, we whip them, then we get them a bunch of money, a bus ticket or airplane ticket somewhere, hotel accommodations, food stamps, cash, all the things they need. We don't even provide that to our homeless. All right. Okay. So again, more hoaxes. Then you got the Trump claiming that Trump saved nuclear secrets at Mar-a-Lago. Total bogus, nothing. Zero. The Steele dossier. Again, total, complete hoax. The Russian bounties on U.S. sailors in Afghanistan. Now, see, there's an element to that I could actually legitimately believe, because it's not that it's not been done before. Because especially when Russia wants to get somebody to say, hey, listen, you take that guy out there, he's an American sailor or whatever, yeah, we're going to give you a bonus. All you had to do is prove you took him out. Would the Soviets do that? Would the Russians do that? Well, of course they would. They legitimately would do that until it got connected back to them. Now, was it really true? Was it a hoax? People keep trying to say, oh, no, we would never do anything like that. Because it's not like Russia hasn't been shooting across the border into Ukraine, taking pot shots at soldiers and killed upwards, I think it's like, was it like 14,000 Ukrainian soldiers since like 2014? I mean, it's a ridiculous number. And every time Ukraine asked the European Union if they could at least fire back, they were told no. So the Russians could shoot them, but they couldn't shoot the Russians. Remarkable. So then they said that Trump said that we could be drinking bleach and that would fight COVID. Nobody in their right mind would ever say that, definitely not Trump. Then you had the Muslim travel ban. Again, another hoax. Not true. Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Well, the disinformation part, yeah, total hoax there. But the reality of it is, yes, Hunter Biden's laptop fully compromises him, his father, a whole lot of other people, and they need to be held accountable. Because if you and I did it, anything like that at all, we would be in a jail. We would never get out forever. We would die there. If not, actually be shot for treason. Because guess what? They're guilty of that. You have Andrew Cuomo, best COVID leadership. Yeah, if COVID leadership means killing a bunch of people. So once again, total bogus stuff here. Uh, Trump built cages for migrant kids. No, that was under Obama. And technically, right now, it's under Biden. Let's see. Then you have what else? The austere religious scholar. Oh gosh, it's getting ridiculous. Trump overfed koi fish in Japan. Now he just followed suit of the president ambassador, whatever there, who after he was done feeding the fish, then he just dumped the rest in the water. And so President Trump followed his lead. Nothing wrong with that. Yet, like I said, guys, desperate people fall into desperate measures, and that type of slander is exactly what we're talking about. And I've experienced it myself, and I'm going to go into that here in a second. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, Build Back Better will pay for itself. No, it will greatly increase inflation and recession. And the Democrats are really, really good at that because they were really, really bad at economics and macroeconomics and those type of things. Obviously, they slept through that class or didn't attend or had somebody else attend it and take the test for them. Trump tax cuts benefited only the rich. That's a bunch of malarkey. Benefited everybody, but especially the middle class. Cloth masks prevented COVID. Cloth masks don't prevent squat, not even the ones that you could get and buy in the store. You're still going to be exposed to stuff no matter where you go. Think how many times you grab a door handle and then you wipe your eye. You got an itch. Yeah. All right. How many times have you done that? Probably way too many. Let's see. If you get vaccinated, you won't catch COVID. Yep, that's a total hoax. That's a total lie. Complete fabrication. And yes, they repeated it ad nauseum. They got famous people to insist and tell us all this stuff that wasn't the truth. And now they're basically saying, well, no harm, no foul. What? Oh, yeah. Big harm, big foul, and you knew what you were doing before you did it. So big problem. SUV killed parade marchers because, those things just drive themselves these days. No. The guy did it intentionally. He's going down for it, too. Trump used tear gas to clear a crowd from a Bible photo. It's absolutely ludicrous. I think we should be able to track down the individual that started that and actually hold them accountable. I mean, make them run a gauntlet through a city park. Everybody gets on one side and all the way down a long line of people. If you can make it to the end alive, you've done your penance. How about that? Don't say gay was in a bill. Give me a break. Putin price hike. Yeah, Putin has nothing to do with this stuff. Well, nobody's really buying this. We're not buying our energy from him. Ivermectin is a horse dewormer, not for humans. Ivermectin's especially for humans. Thing is, it was used for everything else. All kinds of animals, livestock, you name it. Why? Keep the parasites out. Pretty simple, right? It's an antiparasitic. But it goes a little further because in veterinary medicine, ivermectin is used to fight cancer in animals. What? There's a lot of medication that gets tested and figured out, and they test it on animals. And when they find the successes with animals, invariably, it also goes to humans as well. A lot of times those drugs are started out as with a basic idea for this will be for humans. But when you own a $500,000 racehorse, you want it pretty healthy. If you're willing to give a $500,000 racehorse ivermectin to keep the parasites out, yeah, I think the average American, sadly, we're probably not worth $500,000. But you see where I'm going with this. The mostly peaceful protests. There's no such animal. These weren't protests. They were riots, and they were not peaceful. They were destructive. They were unsafe. They injured a lot of good people. Then you have the Trump claiming that Trump overpowered Secret Service for the wheel of the beast. Yeah, because he can jump from the back of the beast up into the front seat and to wrestle the steering wheel away from the guy. Why would anybody do that? No, not buying that one either. And of course, it was all bunk. Secret Service came out and said, no, nothing like that ever happened. Officer Sicknick was murdered by protesters. No, he was not. January 6th, he died of natural causes. Probably couldn't handle the stress of what happened the day before, but that's the reality. And the only person that actually did die on January 6th was the one gal. And we know exactly who shot her, too. January 6th was an insurrection. No, it was not. When you have security guards ushering and calling people in to charge and run in there, they would be contributors to that. And the fact that we still have anybody being held in D.C. for this laughable insurrection is just further evidence to the violation of civil rights, human rights, the whole 9 yards. And then Ray Epps, where's Ray Epps? Ray Epps was actually trying to antagonize the crowd and get them motivated even days preceding that event and during the event. And he was telling guys what to do, and they were doing whatever it was he whispered in their ears. He was fully in support of them. They were there to support him. They did whatever. Yet Ray Epps is not in jail. Matter of fact, where is Ray Epps? Where is he on the talk show circuit? Of course not. Yeah, it's kind of stuff we're talking about. Claiming that Trump mocked a reporter's disability. Now, again, not true. Claiming that the BYU students hurled racist insults at the Duke volleyball player. Again, not true. Way back when I was a kid, we had these things called Pop Rocks. Okay, and Pop Rocks, you put them in your mouth, they just kind of popped and they reacted with your saliva, and they had usually strawberry flavor or something like that. But they're always popping, and they were don't swallow them, don't swallow them, it'll kill you. Yeah, there's this kid, Mikey. He swallowed a couple bags of Pop Rocks all at once, and he died. Yeah, that was a story that went back around back when I was a kid. And you know what? That wasn't true at all. Never happened. Never killed anybody. And yet, that story spread like wildfire. And we didn't even have social media like we have now back then. Yeah, no kidding. So it's amazing. And nowadays, we have people out there who literally and they intentionally start things like that. They start lies. They want to see how far they can go. They are like so proud of what they do in this capacity, which tells you just how pathetic some of our people have become, and literally to the detriment of all of us. This is not helping America in any way. Uh, it is very sad. So be careful what you spread. And so here's the deal. I'm going to read you something. This was something that was sent through an instant message, uninvited, from somebody who was not their friend. This was sent to one of our supporters, Kim. And this comes from, and I'm going to tell you her name. Her name is Chris Butler Martinez. Now, according to her, she's a beam of love at the infinite moment and works at owner of Eden's Gate Nursery and Emporium, and retired from the hamster wheels of student of spirituality and the Great Awakening, studied at the University of the Truth. Okay, well, let's see. What did she decide? What lies did she decide to spread and propagate? Oh, you know, like this. Hey, Kim, I see that you are writing in Paul Romero. He is in hot water with some lawsuits looming for his misogynistic treatment of former volunteers. Just thought you would want to know. I can forward you info if you are interested. Okay, couple things. That number one, I've not done anything misogynistic towards anybody ever. Okay, just not who I am. Matter of fact, I've come to defend a lot of women. Oh yes, in my lifetime. I have to tell you about that event in college, my first year of college. Neighbor was beating up on his wife pretty bad. Yeah, I had to intervene till the cops got there. Um, so anyway, claims that I'm in hot water with some lawsuits looming for his massage. Okay, here's the thing. Um, I'm curious what laws are out there in the event that I was guilty of any kind of misogynistic anything. What laws are out there to take me to court for a major lawsuit? If anybody has information, I would love to know. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist at all. Nowhere I can find anything. Now, libel, slander, defamation of character, malicious defamation, character assassination. Oh, these things exist. But misogynistic treatment, you got to have like serious witnesses, evidence, all these things for something like that. And all it is where it started with Laura Ma Barker. Now, this woman obviously doesn't have a freaking clue about anything, but she speaks as if she knows it all. And she claimed to have info that she could be forwarded if Kim was interested. And if anybody ever approaches you or does that, tell them, yeah, send me your information. I really need to know the truth. Send me your evidence. Send me your proof. That's what you ask them for. And then you keep track of their stuff. You screenshot everything, and you keep track of it. So, and then I went back and said, basically, you don't know what you're talking about, and you're lying, and you're slandering and libeling me. And she says, we have free speech. I listen to people talk of their experience. No, they had a misogynistic experience because from me? That's not true. We know it's not true. Laura Barker started this whole thing, and apparently it started with two events. One it had to do with my wife, and I've been told that if they can't get something on you, the next step is to go with somebody you're close to, your wife, or your girlfriend, or somebody that's close, major person inside your campaign. Any way to basically hang whatever albatross on your neck, even though it had nothing to do with you. And in this case, Laura Ma Barker was really jealous of my wife. That's basically what we've been able to figure out. And in the course of dealing with that, you know, I base this, that's it. I'm not going to deal with these people and just allow them to keep propagating this stuff. So we're going to make them famous. Remember, don't make them famous, make them infamous. So we're going to make Miss Chris Butler Martinez infamous. You know, the gal who, oh, come on. Oh, my phone's acting up here. Oh, crud. Anyway, but I'm going to publish that because. So I responded, I said, so you're spreading lies from secondhand sources with no evidence. Free speech, yes. Libel, slander, malicious defamation, and character assassination, no. What people, what experience, and what evidence did they provide you? You claimed in your note to Kim that you had evidence, you had information. Well, let's see it. She says, calm down. You have lots of people that say stuff out there. You're all upset over my one comment. Oh, my. She also said, you want to be governor, you need to be able to handle disagreements better. You will get them all day long. How is that a disagreement? Say it'd be like a disagreement on abortion. Okay. But if you're going to accuse me of something and you're not going to allow me to defend myself, then that makes you a bully. So Chris here, yeah, she's a bully. So my response was, so that's how you excuse yourself. I will add you to the list with the evidence and witnesses I have here for you. There is no lawsuit against me. There are no charges against me, and I have committed no crime. Don't worry, you'll get your due credit. This isn't a disagreement. This is you lying to others about me, which also has undue influence on my campaign based on nothing. Everyone will know what you've done, and I can't say how that exposure will work for you. You you lie about me, but I'll share the truth about you. You claim to have evidence, so show it. I know you can't because it doesn't exist. Nothing but hearsay. And then she says, better to calm down or not. Being in politics means being even keeled. It is a difficult job and needs strong character. I responded, I am calm and fully intend on calling out publicly people like you. That is more than fair. I tell the truth, you lie, and people get to see it all. Guys, complete transparency is the only way to survive this. And anytime anybody comes at you with something seriously negative about a person, making claims they're a racist, they're misogynist, they're an abuser, the first question out of your mouth is like, really? Well, where's your evidence? If you're going to make these statements, fine, but you better have proof to these things. Well, you can take my word for it. No, I can't. The fact you're even doing that leads me to believe if this was legitimate, there'd already be a court case. They'd already be in court about something like that. you know. And Laura Ma Barker, her response about me was that she said, "Well, I could tell an abuser from a mile away, and he's an abuser." They were even trying to convince my wife that she was being abused by me. Oh yeah, no kidding. It's like, well, I understand because you're being abused, so you can't really say anything. Man, I'd feel real sorry for those women if they were in a room with my wife and nobody to observe what the heck happens in there. Oh, they would experience wrath like they've never experienced it, and they'd be justified. So let's go to the peanut gallery here. So we got Miss Patricia's in the house. Hey, Wilson, good to see you again. Miss Shauna. Hey, Dave. Glad you made it there, hombre. Miss Sherry and Loma, not in Facebook timeout. And of course, Miss Terry. That's Jace's mom. And Miss Sherry Hayes. And Natalia. Hey, good to see you again. And then my favorite person from Tillamook County, Miss Jennifer. Let's see. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. Hey, Tammy, we're staying in the fight. You can't give this up. And so we have a plan for the future. Um, if any one of the three candidates that are running for governor that may have the biggest money and everything else may end up being selected, well, there should be a recall, legitimately, at least uh, as we watch to see what they do and don't do. That's going to have to happen no matter what. With me, I'm going to take some serious action, and it's going to be a lot of unhappy people. Not a lot of it, a group of people that aren't going to be very happy because justice will be coming for them. But that doesn't mean we stop, no matter who gets in office. The next step is going to be to consider in the next 2 years, position in the legislature, which should be very easy for me to do. And then in 2 years later, another run at the governor's seat. So the goal over the next 4 years is to make sure that the people of Oregon, and I do mean all of them, know me. I want them to know me to the point that I could literally go as a write-in candidate for governor right out of the chute. And they go, I'm writing in Paul Romero. Done. I would love to see 50, 60, 70% write-ins for governor on an election. That would be pretty phenomenal, right? Because to be honest, guys, I don't know. I can't trust the Constitutional Party is as good as dead. You're going to see that party dwindle down to about, maybe a dozen people. That's where it's headed. And then you have the Republican Party, which I haven't talked to Mr. Wang yet, so I'll reserve that judgment. But there are still certain elements within the Republican Party that are hobbling it, and that is the super rhinos. That's why we got Drazen, right? So yeah, it creates a bit of a problem. And for me, when it comes to debating these people, no problem, piece of cake. But I still have to be able to get on that debate stage to do it. That way, all of Oregon gets to see and witness. Now, I have videos where they have their forums they did, where I've actually answered the same questions, and my answers, replies were spliced into those videos. So we do have those, and highly recommend getting people to just take a look at them. They'll be really pretty shocked, I think. It's like, why wasn't this guy on the ballot? And I get that a lot. Well, because I have an opposition of controlled opposition, a diversionary candidacy, and a Secretary of State Elections Division who is very corrupt. So all three things, unfortunately, worked against me in this capacity. But we have the truth, and we're going to run it up the flag the best we can and just keep pushing to expose those people involved. That's what we do. Thank you, Deb. Good to see you here. We got Miss Patricia. There you go. Hey, Kim. And let's see. I meant to vote that way. Yeah, I'm not sure what you meant by that, Kim. See. That's awesome. One thing we're finding out is that a lot of these candidates they have no problem lying to your face. None at all. And Drazen still is ducking stuff. And by the way, if anybody's at the Capitol tomorrow when Drazen's going to be there and all that, you get a chance to ask a question, you ask her about her support of China and Oregon. So why is it you support China and their endeavors in Oregon? They're buying farms, ranches, water rights, rental properties. Why are you allowing this? Why aren't you speaking out against this? Yeah, ask her that question. Hey, Miss Shauna, or no, Shanna, there we go, Shanna Banana. And gosh, Shanna and her husband Tom, let me tell you, these two people are just phenomenal. They run a great business. They've been in business for a very long time. They are stellar top members in their community, and their support has just been it's been a huge blessing. It's been a humbling thing, and I tell you what, there's a whole lot of things we got planned coming up, and I know you guys will be involved. And I'm hoping to get more and more people directly involved in their areas because we can help them when they find good candidates to help shorten that candidate's learning curve and to bring all of us kind of into the same fold to actually help each other. That is the best way for any true grassroots campaign where you're truly a person, a candidate of the people. That's important. Hey, LD, what's up, Captain America? Oh man, I gotta admit, I wouldn't mind being Captain America. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, because eventually you get a hammer too. Yeah. Thank you, Dean. Hey, we're not giving up. Mr. Dale Flanders, hello. Let's see, did a lot of writing. You know something? We did too. um, somebody had proposed to me last year. Said, you got to just do a straight up writing campaign. I'm like, really? I never really heard anybody do that. But I mean, we started this campaign almost 2 years ago. So the idea of starting out back then, this writing campaign, I got to admit, was kind of like, whoa, huh? Well, they have to look into that still some more. Good thing to always have backup. But I think I think good things will come out of this whole election. So stand by. Um, yes, Dean, I'm going to continue doing podcasts. We're going to change the format just a little bit because I think we're going to add some interviews. I'd like to get some more people in here. That includes all of you. See, the thing that's been awesome for me is that I run into people that are experts on the fishing, commercial fishing, recreational type stuff, the fish hatcheries, actual timber, all these different topics. They are experts at this stuff. They know it. Why? Because they live it. This is the best place to get information. And what I'm hoping to do is have these people come on the show for at least, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes or more, depending on what the topic is, and just let them kind of give the full on rundown that they give me. So it's kind of like getting an intel brief on a very specific subject and what needs to be done. Because see, here's the thing. As we continue this dialogue, we get to educate more and more people. The other thing is we're going to see a change because I'm going to start a whole new Facebook page and we're going to gear it up in such a way that we actually get all the hits. Because I used to get over 160,000 views on my Facebook lives. Oh yeah, 160,000 plus. Yeah, they got me throttled way down. So we're going to fix that too. So yes, Dean, I will. Let's see. Paul Pelosi and his buddy, both in their tidy. Yeah, let me tell you what, Lisa. No one's buying that story at all. The thing is, the police show up. Paul Pelosi answers the door in his underwear, and he says, "Oh yeah, come on in, officers." And then he escorts them to where the other guy is. And rather than like escape out of the door with the police there to back him up, no. And then the guy attacks him with the hammer. Whoa. Yeah. They've had too many stories. They had the upfront one. They won't show us the body cams, probably because they got Paul Pelosi in his underwear. Nobody wants to see that, really. Much less the other guy, the illegal Canadian immigrant. I mean, come on. How I wonder. Yeah, we always talk about illegal immigrants from south of the border. I gotta wonder how many are coming from north of the border. How many people are escaping Canada? Where everybody's just so friendly, right? Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Randy from John Day. Good to see you here. And Mr. Larry Bennett as well. I really got to get out there. Man, I missed that drive, guys. I was hoping to do it here before the snow flies. So, well, thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that. All right, Terry, we'll see you again. See, let's talk about sort of diesel there. Talking about, okay. First thing is they've been shipping all this energy and oil to Europe to help Europe out because Europe is going to need energy in the wintertime, fuel and all that. Now, the northeast part of America, that's where they still use a lot of heating oil. Okay. And the price of that heating oil has just gone through the roof. Uh, the idea that we're going to run out of diesel to me is ridiculous. Because here's the thing: if we're going to run out of diesel, we're going to run out of gas too. Because see, in the course of processing a barrel of oil, a certain amount of it, as they refine it, gets to the point of being diesel. Okay, and then the rest that continues on to the process becomes other things, notably gasoline and different octanes, what have you. So you can't have gasoline without producing diesel. Now, the claim is also that we have a number of our refineries that have shut down to do repairs and what have you. Well, see, normally these shutdowns are scheduled in such a way they never really have more than one shutdown for repairs. That way, all the others continue to operate. But then there's another little issue where, wait a minute, if we had more refineries, because we have plenty of oil, then we should have plenty of gas. And you know what? That should bring our gas prices down. See, these handful of refineries been allowed to create a monopoly through the government. So what are we going to do here in Oregon when I become governor? Oh, that's right. We have an answer for this, guys. It's really pretty cool. See, Eastern Oregon has oil and natural gas, untapped. Okay. Well, it's on Oregon land, land of the people. Yeah, we could hire our own group to go out there and bring that material to. But you know what we're going to need? We're going to need a refinery. That's right. So, what can we put out there in the high desert, away from most places? Kind of even northeast of Lakeview. Yeah, we could build us our own refinery. Wow, that'd be wonderful. And then we could process our own oil and gas and disperse that through Oregon and be energy independent as a state and bring down your gasoline costs maybe down to a buck a gallon, right? Or maybe even at the end of the year, based on the amount of oil and gas we used, whatever we had to ship elsewhere and sell elsewhere, those profits could be kicked back with a nice little check back to every Oregonian, kind of like they do in Alaska and the Alaska pipeline, right? I know. And the best part about all the stuff I'm talking about, it's already been done. This isn't just brand new in my head. It'd be brand new for Oregon, but it's a matter of applying these other things that are working elsewhere to the state of Oregon. You won't see that with Drazen, Johnson, or Kotek. You just won't. And if any of them had half an ounce of brain matter that was actually fully operational, boy, one of the first things they would do is call me and say, I think I'm going to need that lieutenant governor's spot filled, and I'd like you to do it. I'm like, oh, okay. Let's review my contract with Oregon. Let's see what you're willing to do. Yeah, I would love to have those negotiations, right? So I'm not buying it. Now the what is it? Oh, come on, what is it, MEP or MED? It's the fluid that has to happen, that all these semi trucks, these diesel operated trucks, most of them have to have in order to operate. First, they had a shortage of that, and that's only because the railroad wouldn't allow them to ship it, or limited how much they shipped. See, guys, this is controlling a market. This is outside influences that shouldn't even exist, influencing supply and demand. By reducing the supply, they increase the demand, and then they cripple the industry. But they've taken it a step further by saying, oh, we're going to run out of diesel by Thanksgiving. They better pray to God they don't, because I'll tell you right now, guys, we will have enough gasoline in our vehicles to go visit every single legislator, every single senator, everybody. And we're going to be visiting them a lot. And the simple fact is this, guys: if the people that are representing us aren't actually representing us and taking care of business like they should, we have to hold them accountable. And if that means instilling a certain amount of fear in them to actually do their job, the question then is, what is the person on the other side of the coin providing them even more fear to do all of this against all of us? And I would want to answer that question too. So keep that in mind. Yeah, and we know, you're right, LD. Joe Biden is not running anything. I mean, he can barely operate an ice cream cone. We know he can't operate a bicycle. We know he can't operate the government. So yeah, the funny part is, you look at everything under Obama's reign, and then you have Trump's reign, nice and awesome. Then Biden spikes it. See, Obama didn't do the damage that he wanted to do when he was in for 8 years. So this is another chance for him for another 4 years of doing more damage. And you know what? Yeah, he's gonna shoot it all. He's gonna go and do as much damage as he possibly can. The best part for him is that nobody really knows for certain it's him, but he stays way too close to the White House. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, Dale, thank you. That was Ashley Babbitt. Yeah, she was the one, the Air Force gal. And the thing that drives me nuts is that for a military person to jump in, to be climbing through a small window opening into an area that's obviously locked, secured, and what have you, um, I have to ask myself the question: what the frick was she thinking? Now she's been portrayed as being a pretty smart, squared away military person, and I have no real way to verify that. Not at least not at this point. But um, you have to understand something, guys. If you go charging through an intentionally locked door with security out there in front of that door, and you're trying to pile through, there's a good probability you're gonna get shot. And I don't understand how she couldn't know that. No, I'm not putting blame on her at all. But the fact that any military person that would get caught up in something like that should automatically realize, man, this is not right. There's nothing right. And there's people speaking this out loud outside the entire time. Man, this ain't right. I'm thinking that those guys are feds. They're trying to get us through. They're trying. Stop. Don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. And so there were smart people there. And I'm kind of curious how many of them actually got arrested too, even though they had nothing to do with entering the grounds. But I guess the biggest argument is this: because somebody on the inside unlocked and opened all these doors, that's from within. And apparently from ATF to FBI, all kinds of different agencies were involved in it. Yeah. So, one of the things as governor I get to do is I can actually kick all those little three-letter agencies right out of the state. So, sheriffs, let's make sure you have plenty of militia to back you up. Yeah, because you're going to need it if we're going to actually take care of Oregon. Let's see. Lisa, no, it wasn't. No, not Pet Rocks. It was Pop Rocks. POPROCKS. Pop Rocks, and it's like a candy. You put it on your tongue, and as it gets wet, it starts to pop and snap and crackle. Yeah, that's what it was. Pop Rocks, not Pet Rocks. Although we had those too, and the crazy part is, I remember we had a Pet Rock, and it came with a water bed. I know, crazy, right? The guy who came up with the Pet Rock made a fortune. He really did. I don't know how much he made, but it was ridiculous. Let's see. Um, Thank you, Dwayne. I really appreciate that. Hey, Jojo. Let's see. What is Drazen most liberal on? Well, America first. I would say on China. She's kind of naive and a bit spineless, to be honest. Because see, the thing I would say is if you're going to be in the legislature where you know you're fully outnumbered, right, and they're literally keeping you out of all their meetings to decide what bills or laws they're going to try to run up the flagpole, if that's what they're doing, then you have to go on the offensive. Okay, you take your small band, and she was the leader of the minor party there, right? She was a minority party leader. What did she do? Nothing. Okay, great. What should she have done? Very simply this: you go find every bit of dirt you can on everybody in the legislature. Every one of those Democrats. Oh yeah, and you know what? Oh, there's plenty. Okay, and you go find it, and then you make it public, and you basically force the issue where these people have to resign. You call for the resignations publicly. You go out there and say, "This is the truth. Here's the facts. This is the individual. This is the district. This is who's been representing you. This is who has compromised you guys. He's not representing you. Demand his immediate resignation, or better yet, let's get these people to start a recall on that individual." And you go through them one at a time. And eventually, you have people running for high ground. They're like, I'm out. I don't even want them going into my history. And what you find out about most politicians, that's how it is. They don't even want to talk about that. I talked to a number of people that I thought would actually be good candidates, but in the course of interviewing them and finding out more about their history and the things that would come up and what the opposition will use against you, right? The only time they don't use anything against you is if they themselves are guilty too, all right? So, for example, why is it that Christine Drazan, Betsy Johnson, and Tina Kotek, none of them bring up China? Not the Oregon China Council, not the Chinese Communist Party, not buying up farms, ranches, rental properties, water rights. They don't talk about China. It's like they don't exist. But here in Oregon, we know that they do. So why would they not talk about it themselves? Or better yet, why won't they corner each other on that topic? And the answer is simple. They're all guilty. They're all in it. They're all involved in it. And Drazan, she's a spineless little jellyfish. Yep, she's a cream puff marshmallow. She doesn't know enough to wade through the BS. She needs an actual fighter on her team, and I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. I wish there was someone there, but there's obviously not. So to me, when it comes to that, oh, also her stance on gun control, what have you, it's real simple, guys. It's called the Constitution, and it's all of it or none of it, and it will never be none of it. So therefore, it's all of it. And unless Christine Drazan is going to take and have the stones to say, okay, Second Amendment, there, that means no red flag laws. It means no limitations on anything. Heck, that also means there's no real registration. It's all or none, and it will never be none. So for her and her little compromises and how the Democrats have committed, well, if you vote for this, we're going to help you out with that. And then they don't do it. And she was naive enough to buy it. Remarkable, truly remarkable. No, she's not a leader, not by any stretch of the imagination. Let's see. Yeah, Tim. Thank you for Shanna and Tim, because it's Tom and Giggs is on the sign. That's right. Yep. There we go. Let's see. What else we got going on? Yeah, I have to admit, hey, when we get a lot of rain, whoo, boy, it is fall truly, and the river is high through Roseburg here. So stand by. Michelle, hey, Miss Michelle, one of my favorite people. Let's see, looking for write-in candidates for circuit court judges in Oregon. All on the ballot are judges appointed by Kate, Vance Day, Random May, but let's see. Okay, so here's the deal. Somebody said, and I saw this just before I got on, that they've been basically writing in Vance Day as a write-in on all the judges. And the other thing is that if I don't like anybody for a given office, I automatically fill in the write-in bubble. Okay, whether I write somebody in or not, I do that. So you can do that and put say none of the above if that's how you feel, unless you have somebody you want to write in for governor or senator or something. And here in Douglas County, one of my supporters said, you know what? Me and 11 people in my family wrote you in for Director Zone 2 of the Douglas Soil and Water Conservation District. And the truth is, I know something about the water and the water problems. So that is something I could do no matter what. And then, but with the judges, yep. See, I'm writing in Vance Day on mine. So that's my recommendation. Just write him in everywhere. They'll get the message, especially when a judge ends up with apparently there's like a break off. If they don't get at least a certain percentage of all the votes that come in, then they don't automatically win. So there we go. Write in bubble, and at least maybe write in Vance Day, because to be honest, that's a good guy we need in the court system. So I would suggest doing that, Miss Michelle. Yeah, I got to admit, Kate Brown, most all the Supreme Court justices we have here in Oregon, almost all of them except for one was actually appointed by either Kitzhaber or Brown. As a new governor, I can literally replace all those people just like that. Oh yeah. Yep. Let's see. DEF. There we go. Thank you, Benton. DEF is the the acronym for the diesel. Oh gosh, can't remember what it stood for, but it's a diesel additive that has to be put in certain newer diesel trucks. Older ones, and by the way, I'm pretty sure that's why they're trying to get rid of all the older ones, because the older ones don't need DEF. That's right. So let's see. The illegal constitutional chair clocks, yeah, or sleeper cells trying to keep you away from. Oh, believe me, I know these guys. One thing is this: you have to understand, Jack Allen Brown Jr. is a failed politician, and when you read his little flyers like "Why I Can Tell You What to Do," oh yeah, it's how he gives himself the authority to be a tyrant and a dictator within the Constitutional Party of Oregon. He's quite full of himself, and the last thing he wants to see is somebody within his own party to be more successful than he has been, which has been not at all. They did have a really good candidate years ago, about 12 years ago. Maybe you might know her, Mary Starrett. Ah, yeah. And did they help her? Mm-mm. No. Did they run a diversionary candidate against her? No, they didn't do that. But see, they had other help this time around. The Laura Ma Barker gang with Angela Height, Angie Vanden Boss, a couple of convicts, yeah, things like that. And then, of course, Roger Shipman, who's a little slimy weasel guy anyway. But that's the reality. This is what we came up against. And unfortunately for us, although the Secretary of State originally, through the first ruling they did, or Secretary of State ruling 22-046, where we won. She said, yeah, you're right. They broke these laws, boom, boom, boom. They got fined, penalized, whatever. And there you go. Well, the problem is they did a repeat of that the following month in August. And Secretary of State refused to acknowledge that and to apply the same things to what they just did. And that's what kept me off the ballot. Yeah. And with Secretary of State's office, let me tell you what, I am not done with them. Not by a long shot. So stand by. Let's see what else we got. Now, one thing is I saw the video. She was actually up. She climbed up into that window. She was going through it. She actually climbed up on that. She was crouched down into it, and that's when she got shot and then fell back into the other crowd. Now, there's been questions. I've seen people claiming that there's all these different people in the crowd, and they were giving themselves little hand taps, different signals on their shoulders, and what have you. Found that to be very interesting. And the $1 million question is she really dead? I didn't attend any funeral. I didn't know her personally or her family, or no, I couldn't tell you. But from the video and everything else, even with the direction of the gun, I mean, people have torn that video apart. And the $1 million question is, what do you believe? Has any of it been fabricated or changed or altered? I do not know. But the simple fact is she was climbed up on that shelf for that window and going through that window. And that allowed them to get a shot on her. And that idiot, he didn't even warn her. Nothing. Nothing at all that we could tell or hear. So, and then she fell back from that window. But she was climbed up in that window according to the video that I saw. So, let's see what else we got. Just trying to stop people. Yeah, like I said, Michelle, the video I saw, she was the one that climbed up into that window. And the cop, where the window was, the cop was on this side, but kind of in a little side alcove or hallway. And he shot back at an angle and hit her coming through the window. And then she fell back. That's the video that I saw. Yeah, there's a lot of rain out there, guys, but we're due for it. We need it. My thing is, they better be shutting off all those dams up there at Prineville and Ochoco. Stop draining those reservoirs. Hey, Dave, you put yourself as write-in for several positions in Marion County where no one filed. Wow. What positions in Marion County did nobody file for? I'm curious. And by the way, guys, this is important because we're going to continue this fight, and this is part of the deal. So what I'm going to need is really just kind of a point person in each county to be able to say, okay, here's the next elections coming up. Here's the dates for stuff for our county when they have to either petition or if they have to file some document, basically to kind of get that figured out. And the goal is to get people to run for these positions. There's actually a number of these jobs that actually pay money. Um, and we need good people to step up into this arena. So remember that, please. But I'd love to hear about more about that. See, yeah, listen. Somehow, some way, God's going to bring me justice. It's just kind of a time thing, I suppose. But crazier things have happened. I mean, we still have a major miracle between now and well, the time they finish counting the ballots here in Oregon, which my understanding could be up to a week afterwards, which should never happen. Other states have counted way more votes, way more ballots than us, and they do it before midnight. Why can't we do the same thing? The answer is we can. But Oregon, they need a way to cheat, guys. And right now, here's what I'm predicting. They're saying that the Democrats have been a very low voter turnout, and that's got them scared because the Democrats vote in advance, Republicans vote closer to election day. There's about 250,000 more Democrats than Republicans. And I'll tell you right now, the Democrats are going to vote. I don't believe we're going to be split between Betsy and Kotek. I just not feeling it. What I do see is there's still a bunch of Republicans backing Betsy Johnson. Now, I've been on a couple of Facebook pages. I said, listen, so they said, yeah, Betsy Johnson, she's got my vote for sure, no matter what. I said, hey, I'm curious. What is it about her that you really love? Is it the fact that she was a member of the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Bank branch out of Portland? Was it the fact that she's been big time involved in the supporting the Oregon China Council, and which supports the United Nations Agenda 2030, or is not a full participant and supporter of the Second Amendment? No answer yet. Matter of fact, I'm betting you money that comment probably got deleted off that deal. But the thing is that so many people vote for candidates they really don't know anything about. They just trust what somebody else is telling them. They trust what they saw on TV briefly. And with all the negative stuff that's come from Drazen, Kotek, and Johnson back and forth to each other, they're all pointing the same fingers at each other, and they're all guilty of the same things. It's just that Betsy Johnson had 20 years to not accomplish anything in the legislature. Tina Kotek, Speaker of the House, man, even her time is pretty significant. And what does she really accomplish other than destroy Oregon, right? She gets the same credit. And then there's Christine Drazen. What has she done in the legislature? What qualifies her? Bob Tiernan, right? Bob Tiernan. Now that's a guy that if I wasn't running for office for governor and he was on the ticket, I'd vote for him. No, not even a question. His heart's in the right place. His history's impeccable, and yeah. But no, we get Christine Drazen, 46-year-old cream puff. Yeah, who was so easily manipulated by the Democrats in our current legislature. Yeah. Okay, guys, we gotta do some work. Let's see. Hey, Amanda, what are your plans for Tuesday? Are you going live? Yes, we'll go live at some point there in the evening. And basically, like I said, we have other plans for the future. Whatever happens. I mean, we win. Guess what? We got a lot of work to prepare for, and I'm gonna have a lot of phone calls to make for all the right people to bring in with me come January, and then we're off to the races, and it's going to be fast and furious. And the thing I'm going to do and make sure of is that as I get in there, if I have to do a daily one of these for a half hour to an hour to say, okay, here we go. And I'm going to break it down and I'll spill the beans, whatever I can tell you that I figured out, found out what we're doing. If I got to do a daily type of deal, I'll do it. But I think it's important for Oregonians to know the truth about what's really going on. It's just that important. And should we not win the day, well, then we batten the hatches, we gear down, and we go for a legislative seat for the 2-year spot. But we also work on other people. We need other good candidates. County commissioner, mayor, city council, school board. We have to go out actively, search and find and bring these people in so they know that they're not alone. One of the biggest problems for any good candidate is they just feel alone. And see, for me, I take responsibility for everything that happens in my campaign. Everything. Doesn't matter. But see, that's kind of what they count on. And if they can hang something from one of my people on my neck, that's what they do. It's also why I try to keep it where not everybody knows everybody on my campaign. People usually just trip over each other in the course of things, and that's okay. But then you have people that claim that they were my entire campaign. Laura Ma Barker and Angela Height, boy, talk about full of themselves in a big way. Those guys couldn't divide any strategies for anything to save their lives. But Angela Height, very energetic, very motivated. You get her pointed in a direction, and she goes. Wow, excellent. Until she crosses the line, and then there's the PR coordinator. Well, here's the thing, guys. If you're a narcissist or egocentrist, that's not going to work. It doesn't help. And unfortunately for Laura Mar Barker, she wasn't getting what she wanted. See, she's a narcissist, and her ultimate goal was to control me. No, that wasn't going to happen. And in the course of trying to control me, she actually was trying to get me to literally put my wife under my thumb. You need to get control of your wife. She's destroying your campaign. Oh, yeah. She said these things. I'm telling you, there's a conversation I really wish I'd recorded. Yeah. Anyway, but that's the reality. That's what we get to deal with. But yeah, so I will go live on Tuesday and kind of let you guys know see what we're looking at. And by the way, like I said, please start talking to people, your friends, your family, whoever it is, and find out who might be willing to give it a go. And we have to find out what races are coming up in your county, your city, for the next 2 years, and start preparing now. We prepare now, it's easy. We wait till the last 6 months, it becomes much tougher. And the other thing I want to make sure is anybody running for the legislature, be a bunch of new legislator seats open, Senate and the House in 2 years, and we need to start preparing now. So let's get with the program, right? Yeah, there we go. I'm for freedom. There you go. That's right. I'm for freedom. Thank you very much, Ms. Shada. Hey, Jace is in the house. See, Betsy Johnson sounds like a broken record and never really has anything to say. Definitely not anything of importance. I have to agree. Actually, in listening to all three candidates between Kotek, Drayson, and Johnson, none of them offer anything of substance, which is really disheartening. I mean, at least one of them should be, but so far none. None of them offer any real solutions. They only, yes, this is an issue, homelessness, yeah, drugs, yeah, crime, oh yeah, yeah, oh, woe is us, we got to do something. But yeah, well, where have you been, Betsy Johnson, for the last 20 years? Growing the waistline? Because that's all I see out of the woman at this point. No. And her connection to the Federal Reserve? No. That's like an automatic disqualifier, right? Tina Kotek. The woman has a bachelor's and a master's degree in religious studies, for crying out loud. She's not a rocket scientist, number one. And number two, did she even take that education and apply it to anything of any real consequence except to attack religion, right? Listen, this is America. The whole reason America came into being was basis of freedom of religion, right? Freedom, liberty, sovereignty. And here's a woman who's literally fighting against it because she loves being a tyrant. Let me tell you what, as her as the Speaker of the House, oh yeah, tyrant mode was big time. Because see, she excluded all these Republicans. And the Republicans, did any of them fight? Did any of them go in there and expose the opposition? No. Senator Brian Boquist, he's a good guy, and he's tired. He's been trying to fight this fight by himself. He should be Speaker of the House or Speaker of the Senate. Anyway, he should be the minority representative, to be honest. Of anybody there qualified to do it, he's an actual leader. The thing is, he's exhausted. He's tired. He's been doing this stuff by himself. Got a newsletter that comes out like periodically through the email. Um, Interesting group of people that actually help him write that, but nonetheless, that's what he does. He makes the effort. My thing is this: there's those people when you come into a briefing room in the military, you have the guys get up in the front and say, "Okay, here's the brief. Here's the facts. And here's what's happening. Here's the plan. Here's the basic idea, and confirm this." And the other guy says, "Okay, this is great, but here's our ultimate plan. Here's our ultimate goals. Here's how we're going to take this information, make that happen." And then there's the guys that back there, and they go, "Okay, here's what's wrong with that plan. Here's what we're going to have to change. Here's what's going to work, and then this is what we're going to do. Let's go. Follow me." So, which of all those different people are any of them really explaining to you anything? No. They're the first person in the lineup says, "Okay, we have this problem." They're the problem identifiers, and yet they've been in office already. And what have they actually solved or fixed? What have they actually exposed in Oregon? Christine Drazen. You want to know where? Oh, here's one for you. Why is she liberal? She believes there was no, zero, nada election fraud. None. That automatically pretty much tells me, based on all the other things I know she has access to, that she is a moron. I'll say it here, I'll say it to her face. She's an idiot. The truth, the facts, the numbers, it doesn't lie. And she's not smart enough to recognize that. Or the people that she's beholden to don't want her to recognize it. So which is it, Christine Drazen? Are you smart enough to recognize it, but you just don't want to say nothing about it, which makes you look like you're a moron? So what? Man, damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess. But hey, you wear those shoes, you've earned them. Let's see. Yes, Tammy. They've definitely screwed up the schools. And see, the cool thing about becoming governor, and like I said, let's say Christine Drazen becomes governor. Day one, if she doesn't shut down all that stuff, hey, I've sent a copy of my contract with Oregon to Christine Drazen. Okay. Am I expecting a response? No. Am I expecting her to do some of those things? Yeah. Actually, I expect her to implement them all, to go after all of it. Will she? The $1 million question. And you ain't gonna like the answer, guys. Sadly. There's always hope, but it's shrinking by the minute. Let's see. But yeah, so we can turn the schools around on a dime, make them competitive, get them out of that whole liberal left wing indoctrination garbage, and get our children back to learning the things they're supposed to be learning to prepare them for life. And I'll tell you right now, the future is not becoming less technical; it's becoming more. And your ability to decide to know all the 20 plus, 30, 50 plus genders, it's not going to help you in anything. It's less helpful than algebra. Right on. Okay. Hypocritical Pharisees, like people we know who's running for a local government office, know that Drazen is a rhino and is voting for her anyway. That's not leadership. So that's another thing, guys. I know there's somebody that was trying to say, well, listen, this person has money and it's the lesser of three evils, and I know you're there to write in, but we really need to win this. So my response, well, if you're going to you recognize the three evils, you said that, and so you're going to compromise yourself and your vote, and you're going to go vote for the lesser of the three evils, Christine Drazen, but not for me. Not because you don't want to vote for me, but because you're just you're going to you're going to compromise yourself. You're going to compromise your vote. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to begrudge anybody for their vote, what they want to do. The thing I'm having a problem with is the fact if you know you're choosing from the lesser of evils, and people will complain about this after this election. Man, I had to vote for the lesser of evils again. No, you didn't. You had another choice. You just chose not to do it. That's all on you. So remind those people that. That'll kind of make them at least stop. Every time I've said that to people, they basically ended the conversation. They're on the hook for it, not me. See, Tammy, I'll be back at the school board meeting fighting to keep the jabs out of the school requirements. Hey, let me tell you what, Tammy, in consideration of what's come out from Europe, how Pfizer and what have you have stated publicly that they lied to all of us about the vaccines. They lied that they would not allow you to transfer COVID. They lied that you would never catch COVID. They lied. They lied, 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 lied. And for any organization to be supporting it, you also already have a judge, circuit court judge, that ruled in favor of all these employees for the state. Said, okay, not only do they get to go back to their jobs, you will pay them all the way to the day you stop paying them. That's your penance for having violated their civil rights, and thus keeps this out of my courtroom. Because otherwise, they'd be suing the state, and well, taxpayers can't afford those lawsuits. So that's what that's at. But thank you, Tammy. And something else, guys, because we'll be getting our lawfare ammo that updated, and I'm going to set it up and tie it more to my personal website. So Romero for Oregon is going to stand. It's going to remain, but it's going to be improved. We're going to actually have a store in there because we have a lot of different shirt ideas that we've been waiting to like engage. Well, we're going to engage them. We're going to find a way to generate funds to help all the candidates that we're going to be helping to promote everywhere we go, whether it's in the county level, city level, whatever. This is what we need to do. We're going to truly band together and make a team. And by the way, guys, being part of a team, well, let's put it this way. That destroys two arguments that have been made or claimed against me. Number one, that I'm a narcissist. No, not a narcissist. Number two, that I'm an egocentric, ego-driven type of guy. No, no. I have to deal with too much stuff. Ego would pretty much kill me. And being a narcissist, well, I wouldn't have any friends. Just ask Laura Barker. Yeah. What friends does she have? No, she doesn't. She's good at burning bridges and destroying as much as she can in her path. That's who she is. It's what she is. And by the way, her hempiopathics.com on the internet, her CBD business. Now, mind you, she removed that business off the web because she was trying to sell herself to a bunch of religious leadership in the Constitution Party to show, oh no, I'm this very proper person and all this stuff. I was never a stripper and never this, that, and the other thing. And yeah, you need to listen to me. And they did. But then once she quit the Constitution Party after she came in, did her damage, all these stupid old men that bought into her BS, well, now her business is back up and online. Yeah. And if you're looking for somebody that actually does CBD type products, hey, I know a bunch of people, way better people than that people. So if you're interested, let me know. I will refer you to a couple people I know. Let's see what else we got going on. Matt Kinney, the overwhelming number of Democrats are not socialists. That's true. And the overwhelming number of Republicans are not fascist, or so many Democrats are not socialist. And the overwhelming number of Republicans are not fascist. Yeah, listen, whenever somebody calls anybody a fascist, I don't really, you have to be like a tyrant. As soon as you're shutting down somebody else from having their opinion in any way, shape, or form, that makes you a fascist. Okay? Now, for us, no, listen, if you have an argument, you have a position to take, you're not a fascist by having your opinion. You're a fascist if you won't even let anybody else get their opinion out or to have the discussion. That pretty much is the starting point for fascism. Fascism, you will do what I say, when I say, how I say, and you will not question it. That would be fascism. Okay. So, are there elements within the Democrat Party leadership that are like that? Oh yeah, and they exercise that power extensively, especially like in this case with Kate Brown with executive orders. Yeah, that's a problem because it's ignoring the people. You're supposed to be representative of the people. The government's supposed to be representative of all of us. It's obviously not. That's the problem. But certain small groups, they're loving it. Oh yeah, they love it. Get out of jail free card. Come on, right? So, but no, let me tell you something about Democrats. A lot of them, they're loyal. They're loyal voters, but even they've been lied to. The Democrat Party started to embrace this socialist ideology that they didn't ask permission from a bunch of their members. This is why the Oregon Democrat Party has greatly shrunk over the years to the point that they're less than 34% of the current voting bloc in Oregon. So There's a whole lot of conservative, blue dog, JFK Democrats out there. We get along great, no problems. And then there's the real Republicans, the ones that don't compromise on the Constitution. We get along great. Then there's the Republicans that pretend to be Republicans, but have gone left because they keep claiming they have to move way to the left in order to secure more votes. In the meantime, as the Republican Party shrunk down to what 23, 24% of the voter bloc, Democrats have shrunk down to 34%, same trend line. And then you have the non-affiliated voters who are Republicans and Democrats that are fed up with these politicians that get nothing done, that aren't representing the people, that are not taking care of the problems, but creating more problems. That's over 34%, 34.4%, the last number I got. It's the largest voting bloc in the state of Oregon, the non-affiliated voters, which I currently am one right now. Okay, so, but I appreciate what you said there, Matt, because you're fundamentally you're right there. It's I want freedom, I want liberty, I want my sovereignty. I understand the actual law regarding my driver's license because I'm not driving a commercial vehicle or a vehicle for a job. I shouldn't have to pay to have my vehicle registered. Now, as a commercial vehicle, if you're doing Uber, if you're doing something like that, guess what? You fall into that guideline. You get to foot the bill for that. And the state of Oregon and how they charge registration is ridiculous. That's another thing I'd have to address as governor. The fees that have kind of gone really off the deep end. Anyone hear grandmother dinosaur talking anytime Johnson is talking? Looks like her too. Not the woman dinosaur, not the mama. Dinosaurs, that's a sitcom. I don't even think that's going on. It's just reruns anymore. But the babe's always saying to calling the dad, it's like it's mom and not the mama. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, Oregon needs a reckoning, and we're going to have that. And the cool part is I started a company just for this and just for these candidates. And it's called Roar Entertainment LLC. Roar stands for Restore Our American Republic. And the cool thing about Roar Entertainment LLC is it can do a whole lot of things. Number one, it can help candidates to do fundraisers, events. We have people come speak, sell tickets, T-shirts, whatever, that type of stuff. And then those funds are in turn used for candidates, right? And an LLC can donate to a campaign. And not just mine, but to a whole lot of things. So as we do that and get that going for the state of Oregon, we're going to actually do some things will just be totally for entertainment. Some may have a little political slant to it. We'll kind of work into it. But the one thing I want to make sure is no matter what we're doing, anything that we're putting out there is 100% the truth. And it's not just somebody there trying to make a buck, right? I've seen that too many times. The Reawaken America Tour, it's a money-making machine. And when I found out what some of the paychecks various people that are involved were getting, I kept wondering, there's only one reason why they continue to do this, because it makes a lot of money. Oh, it does. And my thing is that when you have people coming to speak, everyone wants to hear, and you don't even pay those people. Yeah. And even when you make the tickets where, hey, whatever you want to pay, you'd be surprised what some people will pay for a ticket. Yeah. And I think the most I've ever paid for a ticket was like $10. Yeah. Some people paid for the same ticket over $100 because they thought that was about the right price. Yeah. Pay attention, guys. Don't fall for the trap. Hey, Patricia, I want you to know my local school board created a committee to get books out of schools, also reviewing surveys before children see it. We are winning. Outstanding. Like I said, we have to keep the heat up. And part of my deal and something we're going to do is when you have somebody that you're dealing with and the things that they are guilty of, where they stand on certain things, you get us a picture, you get us a list of those things, and we have that conversation to make sure we know that, yes, they are doing these things. This is what they've been supporting. We will create a wanted poster for you and give you the file copy. You can go run up as many copies as you want and post them wherever you want. Why not? Because see, here's the deal, guys. We're not making them famous. We're going to make them infamous. Here is the truth. Here's where they stand. They support the whole gender dysphoria stuff. They support this uh, common core. They support this. They support all the things that they support that why they would be wanted for crimes against our children. Right? Yeah, we can fight this fight, and we can do it very cheaply. So let's do that. Okay. What do you think will happen when the Republicans take the House and Senate? Oh, Mr. Dollarhide, let me tell you what. If the Republicans don't turn this whole thing around 180 degrees, you're going to know they are fully in bed with the Democrats, aren't you? I know. And we do know certain people that are. Graham, come on. There's people up there that in our Congress. I mean, even the Democrats. Nancy Pelosi. Oh my God, she's held together with duct tape, bubble gum, paper clips, and more duct tape. You know, these guys have lived way beyond what they should, especially in office. And I'll bet you money the day that Nancy Pelosi retires from Congress, she just drops dead. There's gonna be a shell. I mean, she's gonna weigh like 3 pounds. You know, there's gonna be anything left to her. Lord knows there won't be any liver left. That's for sure. Um, I mean, I question whether she's human. Yeah. Um, but I think, like I said, it's going to be a really good condition to see how effective they will be. Because here's the thing, guys. Do you remember a time back when Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House? Yeah. Remember that contract with America? Remember that? First 100 days, what they were going to do, and they did it. And it was all the right stuff. It was all the good stuff. And then people like John Boehner were all pissed off, made them all look bad. So they had to get rid of Newt Gingrich. Yeah. If John Boehner was in this room right now, I'd knock the frickin' tan right off his head. I'm telling you what, that guy would deserve every bit of it. John Boehner, you're lucky you skated by without any punishment, truly. But I have a feeling you're going to pay for it eventually. There's another judge coming, and you ain't going to win that one. Let's see. 10-foot wall up around the Federal Reserve Bank in Washington, D.C. today. I heard. Yeah, they've been putting up certain fences, things up around various things. The Federal Reserve, they probably need their own army and tanks and stuff because I'll tell you, with what they're doing, under Trump, they moved the Federal Reserve back under the Treasury, supposedly. And it's quite obvious that they're doing business as usual under Biden. Not by any decree or anything, just they're just doing it. What we don't know doesn't hurt us, right? Wrong. Let's see, Miss J. Cecilia, I believe that Drazen is a rhino, especially with her thoughts on the voting system, 2020 election, the Oregon County Council. You're absolutely right. She does not believe that the 2020 election was any kind of election fraud at all. Not here in Oregon, not anywhere. She doesn't believe that it should be recounted. No, not at all. And I'll tell you why. Because she knows she's been the one that's been tapped to win. But it takes all of us to change that. I'm really sorry that we have to do it with a write-in deal, but we do what we have to do. A few fraud indictments regarding election, but in every proven and convicted case in America, it was a Republican. That's definitely not true. Well, Matt, Kenny, I think we know who you are. Enough senators overturn veto, it's just going to be nothing. No. Okay, so very simply, this knows a whole mess load of Democrats that were prosecuted and busted from the mules. And maybe, Matt, you ought to go watch 2,000 Mules. Maybe you ought to go actually look at some real data. It was not Republicans, it was Democrats across the board. So just because you come and say something doesn't make it true. The reality is very much proven, and it's been Democrats involved in subverting elections in favor of Democrats. And that's exactly what happened. So stand by for the airlock. By order of the First Circuit Court of Appeals, Catherine Engelbrecht and Greg Phillips have been ordered released from custody. Reversing the lower court statement from Catherine will follow shortly. Very interesting. Hey, Wilson, you have a good night too. Take care. Thank you for the prayers. So you paid for a Carmen concert back in the early 90s. for $50, and it was worth it. Okay, glad to hear you. That's probably a good price for back then. Um, yeah, I know. There's just gonna be a lot of. I told you, so I can't wait to just see all the truth come out. You know, there's a whole lot of people. They think they know the truth, and they don't. Ronald Reagan said it best. Said the thing about liberals is that so much of the truth that they know, so much of what they know is not true, but they act as if it is because they heard it from three other people they don't even know. No evidence, no real documentation, but you know. And at some point, I got to admit, we need to put together a whole list of all the Democrats that were arrested and gone to jail and been fined and what have you for their participation in election fraud in the 2020 election. And there's a lot of them, a lot of video, a lot of evidence, a lot of proof. It took them a while to get a bunch of names, but they figured it out. What about those tyrants that made us all wear masks just to buy some food? Oh, let me tell you what, Natalia, there needs to be some serious accountability there, and they don't dare do it again. So I guess my best advice to you is this: is those people who did that to you before, when you go into that store, go get a bunch of, go load up that shopping cart, and then when you're checking out, go, wait a minute, you guys wouldn't let me come in here and shop without a mask, only to learn that all these masks were a bunch of malarkey. You know what? I don't want this. You guys can go put it back. That'd be one way to protest, right? And you make sure you said you let the boss know. I'm not shopping here because of that. Have a nice day. You didn't help us. You didn't save us. You made it worse for everybody by what you did, and you deserve to pay for it. That's about the best way you can hold them accountable. So Antifa is planning on stuffing ballot boxes in Portland with 2 or more ballots to make sure Tina wins. Well, here's again, guys. These guys are so stupid. That's the one thing you can count on criminals to be stupid. The problem we also have is we have a Portland district attorney that is worth, well, less than a fly speck. Yeah, because when it comes to the law, upholding it, prosecuting people for violating it, isn't what he does if you're Antifa or BLM. Basically, you got to get out of jail free card over there. Now, remember, ballot harvesting is not illegal in Oregon. It's not, which is a problem, and it needs to be corrected and changed. But the fact is that they're going out and bragging about it. Oh, wow. Yeah. Does that endear us to Antifa at all? And my question is, where is Antifa getting all these extra ballots? Yeah, well, if we can get their phone numbers, just some tracking of their cell phone pings and where they go, that data is available out there. Some might be able to figure that one out. All right, so let's see. I think I've tagged on all the things I needed to kind of hit you on a little bit. So beware of the distractions. Oh, and I want to cover this too real quick. This is a author, Emily Oster. She's a writer for The Atlantic. She wrote an article, "Let's Declare a Pandemic Amnesty." Oh my gosh. Woo! It's like all the people guilty of violating the Nuremberg Code, civil rights. Well, let's just, we're all wrong. We're all wrong. So, let's just forget about it. Call the whole thing off, right? Okay. Now, this gal, Emily, is an economist at Brown University. She's also the author of a handful of books. The Family Firm, a data-driven guide to better decision-making in early school years. Oh, dear God. That one would drop you off a few IQ points. Expecting Better, why the conventional pregnancy wisdom is wrong and what you really need to know. It's probably trying to convince women that they shouldn't be women and shouldn't have children. And anyway, her story begins with, quote, "Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve." You mean all the problems that all your Democrats have not only not solved, but have contributed to a bigger problem? That must be what you're talking about. Now, I'm certain we have all heard something to this effect from a super guilty person, an ex-spouse, a son or daughter, perhaps someone we've worked with. This is a line used to ignore accountability. Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve. It's kind of like the whole, it's not you, it's me, but it's you type thing. So allow me to retort her excuse. First, we must address the problems that allowed their abuse to happen in the first place. We cannot build on the rubble of failed tyranny or the shifting sand of good intentions. Now, think about all the people who thought they could build a better mousetrap or wheel, wasted billions of dollars, failed, and then just faded into the shadows as if their mistakes never happened. See, they want to take credit for when something works, but when it fails, they just kind of slink back into the shadows, right? I know you guys have witnessed this. We all have. So later, they have the audacity to come back with another bad idea and expect us to have forgotten and or forgiven. And I think that once you've affected the livelihood and well-being of a single American citizen in a significant and intentional way, then you're done. Politicians do not deserve a second chance as they are compromised. Redemption requires recovery action and continued efforts. Otherwise, one falls back to the beginning and has to hope someone will give them another chance. That may be deserving, it may not be, but that's when we have, uh, discernment, right? So, with discernment, sometimes it requires us to not give another chance. It's not an automatic, yeah, sure, what the heck, let's give you another shot. Doesn't work that way. So anyway, this gal, she thinks we need to put aside the past failures, all the coercion, all the lies by all the liars, which would include public influencers, the World Health Organization, the National Institute of Health, Dr. Fauci, judges, employers, senators, congressmen, politicians, Karens. Yeah, all of them. To forgive and forget for their mean, vicious, and deadly actions against we anti vaxxers, us purebloods. That's right. Lost jobs, destruction of families, various financial setbacks for the average American family, not to mention the biggest hit to our economy since the Great Depression. And the guilty parties just want us all to forget about it. Forget about it. It's okay. You know, we just put it behind us. We'll focus on what's in front of us. Yeah, not till I get to whoop your ass and make sure you never have a position to do anything ever again like this. So, in considering it was their attempt to destroy America and the world, right? No. Considering the vast amount of damage they've done to our families, jobs, retirement funds, and future. No. Considering the damage they've done to our children. No. Do the crime against humanity and suffer the consequences. In this, we all must take whatever action we can within legal means, in spite of the fact that they committed these actions outside of the law, outside of the Constitution, rules, regulations, public trust. Considering the deaths and injuries alone, a level of violating the public trust has been achieved that rivals the worst pandemic, death count, war ever, because this was done on a worldwide stage. We experienced misguided and excessive precautions, which violated the health and well being of billions of people. Excuses included phrases like conditions of tremendous uncertainty, lack of knowledge, we lack definitive data, misinformation, etc. And then they expect to apply toxic forgiveness towards us. Oh man. The author of the Atlantic article would have us believe that the misinformation and errors were made by people who were working in the earnest for the good of society. You know what they call that? That is 100% pure, fresh, refined, steamy bovine excrement. That's right. So perhaps for the good of their elite society, but not for the good of society. This was a veiled attempt to wipe out a significant portion of the world's population in accordance with the United Nations Agenda 2030, which is fully endorsed and supported by the Oregon China Council, which is also further supported and endorsed by almost everybody in the legislature, including our three major candidates, Drazen, Johnson, and Kotek, for governor. It is now mainstream knowledge that Bill Gates, George Soros, the Davos Group, etc., are all about reducing the world's population by any means necessary. But heaven help them if we figure it out. Now, obviously, some people intended to mislead and made wildly irresponsible claims against us anti vaxxers. And consider how much time, resources, and money was spent to convince us all that the anti vaxxers were at fault. The censorship of truth throughout social media by shadow banning, adjusted algorithms, and full banning influencers. It cannot be ignored. Now, Emily Oster continued with this statement, quote, given the amount of uncertainty, almost every position was taken on every topic. And on every topic, someone was eventually proved right and someone else was proved wrong. In some instances, the right people were right for the wrong reasons. In other instances, they had a prescient understanding of the available information. Okay, that's her quote. Now, prescient being having or showing knowledge of events before they take place. So we just predicted things out of thin air. Now, last time I checked, if you're right, then you're right. Period. You may take a risk by leaning a little past your knowledge, but this idea that the right people were right for the wrong reasons, guys, that is oh wow. This person needs to go get her money back for a degree from Brown. Now, perhaps maybe we have a little bit of a gut instinct of self-preservation, or maybe insight from God, which I kind of consider gut feelings. Somebody's beating the back of your brain, going, "Yo, wake up! Don't do it! Don't do it!" Come on, I know you guys have heard that voice. Pay attention to it. Or maybe understanding the real science about mRNA being a gene manipulation, but they told us, "Oh no, it's not a gene manipulation. No, it's not." That was a lie. We know that. It's not a conspiracy theory. It was a conspiracy. Literally, they were lying to us. Now, she goes on to say, and I quote, the people who got it right for whatever reason may want to gloat. Those who got it wrong for whatever reason may feel defensive and retrench into a position that doesn't accord with the facts. All this gloating and defensiveness continues to gobble up a lot of social energy and to drive the culture wars, especially on the internet. These discussions are heated, unpleasant, and untimely, ultimately unproductive. In the face of so much uncertainty, getting something right had a hefty element of luck. This woman's an idiot. She goes on to say, and similarly, getting something wrong wasn't a moral failing. Treating pandemic choices as a scorecard on which some people rack up more points than others is preventing us from moving forward. No, the truth is that treating the pandemic choices as a scorecard by how many people die and don't get to argue this fact. That's what they've done. And this idiot is taking that from them, the victims. All the people have been permanently disabled from these mRNA vaccines and what have you. Go ask them what they think. They were lied to. You know they were lied to. And yet, you're still going to make excuses for the people that did all the lying. See, if it's not working in the liberals' favor, this is the kind of stuff they do. You want to talk about some gaslighting here? Good gravy. They've like cornered the market on it. When you're right, you're right. And sometimes it may have been a lucky guess. Like I remember I was at a part of a college basketball pool way back when, and oh gosh, I literally ended up, I was the last person to pick a team, so I got stuck with 18. And you know what happened? That team won. Oh yeah, I got the huge pot just because I got stuck with having to pick the one last college team, and they ended up actually winning the whole enchilada. Imagine that. Seton Hall, that's what it was. It was Seton Hall. That would have been back in 1980, 88, 87, 88, 89, somewhere in there. Anyway, sometimes you do get lucky. It's like this one point, probably going to be close to $2 billion Powerball. Do you have your tickets? I got mine. Yep. So we'll see how it goes. To me, this idea, well, the scorecard, they were all about scorecards when they thought they were winning because they were stacking the deck in their favor. But as soon as we're winning, based on actual facts, actual results, actual data, statistics, admissions of guilt, yeah, they didn't score a single point. Matter of fact, they're in the negative, I believe. Now, she says that we're supposed to put aside these fights and declare a pandemic amnesty. Well, we can leave out the willful purveyors of actual misinformation while forgiving the hard calls that people had no choice to make with imperfect knowledge. The heck, we can't. A lot of these people knew what they were doing. They knew it was wrong, and they did it anyway. They did it for this. They were making money hand over fist. Come in, get a COVID test. Come in, get a COVID shot. Be admitted for a COVID complication. Put on a respirator, right? Uh, Die because of COVID. They made money on all of it. So, who do you trust? I think all of us really trust the medical group a whole lot less these days than we used to. We used to just carte blanche. Oh yeah, it's the medic. Man, they're not going to do anything to kill me. Do you realize more people die in the hospital than from drug overdoses? Yeah. I can't remember the exact numbers, but more people die in the hospital from bad care than like almost everything. It's like number one or number two, maybe number two behind cancer, but it's significant, and that says something too. Um, so the and and like I said, the damage has not just been in health; it's also been for our children. Low test scores. We've declined as a society in education. We're going to have to do a serious catch up job, and the next governor of Oregon has got their hands cut out for them in that regard. But I have a plan for that too. Hopefully, I get to implement it in some capacity, or at least get school boards on board to just basically tell the governor what's what, maybe what it's going to take. So, they made up excuses about how people have been neglecting their health care for years, that they've been neglecting their routine vaccinations. You know, the amount of people that are getting those vaccinations for the kids is way down. Thank God. So rather than debating the role about messaging about COVID vaccines, um, think about all the people that didn't die because they refused. Some of them lost jobs, livelihoods. Yeah. And in the end, everybody loses, whether you got the shot or not. The only difference is those of us that don't get the shot, we're going to survive and have to actually work through the mess, the devastation. That's the reality. And for those who got the shot, man, I'm sorry. You were misled, you were lied to, but understand something. If you pushed it on somebody else, you're guilty too. So that's all the time we're going to give them. But again, guys, like I said, don't do things against your will. You do not have to consent to anything. You are a free, liberty loving American citizen. And we have to start acting like it. So, let's see. Okay. Missing something over here. Yeah, I'm expecting them to cheat. No question about it. And the worst part is if they cheat too much or make it too obvious that there's all kinds of hawks watching, data, everything. Okay, and because if we all of a sudden see a Tina Kotek winner here, nobody's going to buy that. You're going to see the fastest recall of a governor you've ever seen. That's right. And when that happens, man, I hope the entire state of Oregon gets behind it. And that's why it's important for. And the other thing I think is that Drazen and them, they're not going after the NAV vote. That's a huge mistake. Betsy Johnson thought just because she would be a NAV that somehow she would get those votes by default. They aren't stupid people. They know you're a Democrat. 20 years, and you've accomplished nothing good for this state. But you have managed to kind of incarcerate homeless people in a prison facility that's not being used like a prison facility, kind of, sort of. So yeah, so let's go in there. Don't do, yeah, I'll tell you what, Barry. I haven't had a flu shot since like 1986, and it's because every time I got the flu shot, I got the flu. And for my deployment schedule, I had to be able to be deployed. I couldn't very well be deployed when I got the flu. Yeah, so they said, okay, no flu shot for you. Have a nice day. And beyond that, typhoid was like the only one I had to get regularly, but it's like a 2 or 3 shot series, and when you're overseas in other countries, you kind of yeah. But in this day and age, nowadays vaccines and how they're changing them, I don't trust any of them. I really, really don't. And until I know I can trust them, that's where I'm at. I'm better off to take my chances and build up my own immune system. Um, yeah, what's funny is, like I said, I had that one gal, um, eh, Miss Chris Butler Martinez. And she's trying to tell me I need to be more calm and that I should be able to handle debate. She wasn't debating squat. She was making an accusation that was false, unproven, unverified, with no evidence, and acting like it was the truth and trying to influence another voter. Yeah, see, where I come from, that's dumb, and that's being an ass. And that qualifies her for dumbass status. So, um, and yes, I will continue to give public credit to those who deserve it. Let's see. Oh man, Barry, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Wow. Coos County elections fraud already happening. Yeah, I've been hearing about that, and these people are bold. I mean, really bold. All I can say is this, guys, is have that recall ready to rock and roll. And make sure you have a good candidate, someone you actually can trust that's not a egocentric type person or a narcissist, because yeah, you kind of got a couple of them. Oh man, two jobs in 2 years because I chose not to give up my civil rights. Well, I'm really proud of you, Natalia, for what you did. But in the end, don't worry. In the end, you win. Okay, because see, those people that got the shot and those companies that pushed it hard, and those companies end up with a huge dent in their workforce, and they go, "Uh-oh, now what do we do?" And then HR, whoever survives, and HR's got to go, "Well, we could call these people back. They know the job. We won't have to take very long to get them up to speed, and yeah, we kind of should do that." And then when they call you up, say, "Well, what's my signing bonus?" See, I lost about X thousands of dollars for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year that you unemployed me. So there's a total minus the unemployment that I may or may not have gotten. And therefore, this is the balance. So, yeah, you give me that bonus check day one, I'll come back and work. But you ain't never doing that shit again. There you go. Wheel and deal, man. 107. Woo! Yeah, the highest I ever got was 105. And that was, man, that was non-functional. I had a hard time. Yeah, I think everybody knows the county clerk there is full on corrupt. But like I said, guys, you guys can recall them. Yes, you can. And I know Shanna and your people and the other people that are out there. Oh yeah, you guys could recall that person quick, fast, in a hurry. And you got commissioners that got to go too. We have literally 2 commissioners, potentially even 3 here in Douglas County. We need to let go too. Oh yeah, new meme was awesome. Thank you, LD. That was fun. Got to put it out there, and I ask each every one of you if you can find the memes, things that we're posting, the videos, just share them, and don't back down from your position. Um, they need to understand who their candidates are, and if they're going to sell themselves short, they're going to compromise themselves and their vote and their family because of that vote. They have no position to argue, And I know every voter I've ever talked to, they always say the same thing. I say, man, I hate having to vote for the lesser of 2 evils or 3 evils or whatever. I just don't want to do it anymore. I can appreciate that because I don't either. And I ran into the same problem. But we just have to feel our way through this and realize that it doesn't end until we say it ends. It's not over until we say it's over. And we, the people, we just got to step up. All right. Okay. Well, when you recall people, it has to do with petitions. And when you get these petitions signed, you usually have one person that's designated that goes in and checks every person that's on the sheets. In other words, pre-checks all the signatures. Say, yep, they're Coos County, they're registered, they can do this. Boom, boom, boom. And then you can kind of verify each one. And then when you turn in that stack of all the signatures you need to recall them, you can put a statement that I verified that all these are in the voter database. Address is all good to go. Signatures are all there. Boom, recalled. You document it. You keep your photocopies, make copies of everything, and then you turn them in. And you turn them in as you go. That way they can see the numbers coming in. They have to give you, okay, you turned in 500, 497, we're good. Okay, moving on. And you just keep going until you get it done. The good news is you have a lot more time to do that than you do for governor. Yeah, they've been cheating. That's how they try to keep their governors then, guys. Yes. Well, if there's a person with the name Mickey Mouse, yeah, you might have elected him. But that's how you do it. Go down to the county clerk, say, listen, I need to submit a petition for a recall on this office, on this person, and I need to know what documentation I need to submit and how many signatures I need. Miss Vicky, I'm a nurse. I worked through the entire pandemic, never got COVID. No shots. I'll never take even a flu shot again. Right on. I don't trust anyone. I'm also a veteran. Nice. Thank you for your service. That's not to be condescending because I hate hearing it myself, but thank you. And here in Oregon, once I become governor, I might be calling you back for the whole state guard militia. So I took inaugural immunizations as a nurse after I went to school as a civilian. I, of course, did follow the science as they say. Needless to say, I retired because of the absolute exhaustion and the BS. I got you. I totally feel you. It's gonna be really funny as if somebody's pet actually wins the race. That'd be kind of hysterical. But in the cartoon that we find ourselves in, uh, sometimes you just got to laugh a little bit, I suppose. But okay, folks. Well, hey, I will be seeing you on Tuesday evening, probably. I look from about 6 o'clock. We'll probably put it out for that and see where things are at. All right. So you guys all have a great night. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your support. And like I said, be looking for candidates. We need candidates, good people to step up. And sometimes those are retired people. And they may think, no, they're done. They're on the bench. No, you're not on the bench until you're dead. That's the deal. All right. And they can put in a few years and help us out, help us recover the state. Okay. All right, guys. Well, good night. Sleep tight. And I'm enjoying the rain, actually.